monorail go? Faster than you think. And what prestigious award did it win? Oh, I'll tell you. And how prestigious is it? You won't even believe it. Stay tuned to find out. All right, let's go talk about Monorail. Today, I'm Provost I'm gonna do all the secrets revealed of the Monorail. 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 The Monorail Station is located right here by Nemo's submarine voyage. It's kind of weird. The entrance is kind of tucked in right behind. There's a little sign right there that says Monorail. You walk right on, get on the Monorail. Monorail. All right, so I'm going to make a deal with you guys. Here's what we do. When you watch this video, if I tell you something really cool that you didn't know about the Monorail, or make you smile, or you like learn a cool fact, hit that like button. And then if you really like it, hit the subscribe button. Because every week we have brand new videos coming out every week with all kinds of cool secret reveals of Disneyland. Hit the subscribe button. That way I know that you like what we're doing. It's super easy. You can subscribe to as many channels as you want. So go ahead and do it. It's free. Why do they call it a monorail? Well, there's one rail. And it's Monorail. Have you guys seen the Simpsons episode Monorail in season 4? That's my favorite Simpson episode. It's amazing. Conan O'Brien actually wrote that episode of Monorail.
What I say? Monorail.
Monorail. Walt Disney always envisioned having a monorail at Disneyland. In fact, if you look at the original drawings for Disneyland, it showed a monorail, except the monorail was hanging from the track. So that was the original concept for it, but now the monorail, of course, it rides on the track. Walt got the idea for the monorail when he went on a trip to Europe with his wife Lily. He loved the idea of it, but the problem was Lily got motion sickness really easy. And the monorails that were running at that time there, they would hang underneath the track and they sway a lot, making Lily sick. So when Walt came back and says, I want a monorail, we'll have to redesign it so it's on top of the track, making it more stable, so that way Lily wouldn't get motion sick. When Walt Disney was in Germany and decided he wanted to build a monorail, the company that builds the monorails in Germany was called Alweg, A-L-W-E-G. Walt had that company and hired them, and they helped him build the Mark I and the Mark II. Alweg helped them build Mark I and Mark II. But the Disney Imagineers, they built the Mark III, 4, and 5. The Mark 7, which we were on, was built by a new company called Dynamic Structures. They've had 3 different companies build the monorails. In 1959, the cost of the monorail, it cost about $1 million per mile. Per mile. I can't even imagine how much it would cost now. When Walt was having the Imagineers design a monorail, he really envisioned this being the transportation of the future. But what happened at that time was California started becoming obsessed with what? Automobiles and freeways. And that's what everybody wanted, their own automobile. They didn't want to rely on public transportation. So it really never took off. It's interesting to think though, if California had been so obsessed with automobiles at the same time the monorails coming around, who knows? Monorails might have been everywhere. They might have taken over everything rather than automobiles. Would have been better for our environment. Darn it! Come on, monorails, you can do it. Thank you. On June 14th, the dedication, Walt Disney basically saved it because Richard Nixon here was the vice president and his 2 daughters were here and they were supposed to do the ribbon cutting ceremony. And they had this giant wooden scissors and they were supposed to cut the ribbon. Well, they kept trying to cut the ribbon and it wouldn't cut. What Walt saw it, he just walked over, boom, pow, ripped it by his hands and the ceremony went off without a hitch. Smart thinking. Walt always making everybody look good. So awesome like that. When the monorail opened in 1959, it was the very first daily operational monorail in the Western Hemisphere. Not Western United States. The Western Hemisphere. What? Now cities use it all the time. Las Vegas has one. Seattle's got one. They're everywhere. And it was originally designed here in Disneyland. When the monorail first debuted, it was considered an E-ticket attraction, meaning it was the highest tier attraction. Yeah, this and Matterhorn were both the E-ticket attractions. Can you imagine that? How times change. All right, so here I am, guys. I'm on the monorail, but the monorail's amazing. It's epic. But do you know what's even more epic? This guy! You guys, if you gotta check out Fresh Break. He's the original. You get all the brand new breaking Disney news. This guy is always on it. He's amazing. Check it out. Now, I'm gonna tell you one of my favorite stories about Monorail. Tell me if you heard this.
Okay.
Did you know that on opening day, that Vice President Richard Nixon was here?
Sure.
And Bob Gurr was driving it. They got on. The monorail took off without Richard Nixon's Secret Service. So Walt Disney technically kidnapped the Vice President. They went around one loop, Because back then it didn't go down to downtown. It's just a loop, enclosed loop. They came back, and Richard Nixon's girls were like, "We want to go again." So Walt signaled to Bob Gurr, like, "Keep it going." So he went right through the station, and the Secret Service were running along the side trying to get on the train, and Richard Nixon was just laughing. My favorite monorail story.
That is a great, that is a classic monorail bit. Yeah, for sure.
Technically, think about it. Walt Disney technically kidnapped the vice president.
Yeah.
Currently, they're not allowing people to sit in the nose cone or the tail cone anymore because of safety features. It's in a closed area, so you can't ride in there right now. I don't know if it's a shame, because it is really cool. This is Monorail Red, as you can see, the main red color right there. This is Monorail Blue, you can tell, of course, by looking at the blue color. Blue, blue, blue. It looks so good. The maximum amount of trains they could ever run at a single time is 3, because they only have 3 trains. They rarely do that. It's usually 2 trains. But on very crowded days, you could technically have 3 trains. Red, blue, and orange all going at the same time. Walt Disney World has 12 monorails. It's kind of fun to go there one day so you can ride them all in one day. The colors are peach, red, black, teal, coral, yellow, gold, lime, orange, blue, silver, and green. Disneyland only has 3, red, blue, and orange. Orange is going through refurbishment right now. It's going to be several months before they bring it back out. So right now they only have 2 monorails running the track, blue and red. In 2010, they started to advertise on the sides of the monorail. They did Tron Legacy, they've done Captain America, they've done Iron Man, and they paint them on the sides. It takes about 3 to 4 weeks for them to paint these monorails to have this amazing advertising thing. Advertising thing? I don't know. So I gotta tell a really cool story about the monorails being painted and all that. Brian Crosby, who is the creative director of Marvel Themed Entertainment, he came to the Provost Park Fest Expo, and he was telling us a really cool story about the monorails, particularly the monorails in Florida. One of the first projects he did, he had the monorail and he had it designed to look like S.H.I.E.L.D., you know, like the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but not the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the TV show, but like as in S.H.I.E.L.D., representing all the different characters. It got approved by everybody. Kevin Feige, everybody loved the design. And so it was the first time they'd ever done it. The whole thing, they wrapped it. But back then, they couldn't wrap the nose cones. And so they went back to Brian. They're like, well, can we just leave that there? And Brian's like, no, it looked terrible. So they had to go in and paint the nose cone and the tail cone to make it look this matte black, to make it look really cool. And Brian says it caught a lot of people like really angry about it, but he goes, it looked really awesome. So, what a cool story. Thank you, Brian, for sharing that story. I mean, you didn't ever think about those things. You guys ever hear the joke about the monorail? It's a one-liner. Disneyland has the odd number monorails. They have the Mark 1, the Mark 3, the Mark 5, the Mark 7. Disney World, they've got the evens, and they're a Mark 6. Disneyland, we're a Mark 7. Why is it called the Mark 7? The reason it's called the Mark 7, there's been 7 generations of monorail cars. This is a major difference between this and Walt Disney World are the seats. Walt Disney World is literally like a metro train. Everybody stands. Disneyland, you have the seats to sit down. 22 people can sit in here when it's completely full. Woo! There are 5 cars, so you can get a total of 110 people on the monorail. There's a nose cone and a tail cone. The tail cone could hold 6 people. The nose cone could hold 4 people and a pilot. But because of the world nowadays, they're not letting anybody ride in the tail cone or the nose cone, other than the pilot, who's only in the nose cone. You know what I mean? Here's a tail cone that could hold up to 6 people. I wish I could ride in it though. Ah! The Mark IV train has 5 compartments and it's 140 feet long. Also, by the way, we just went through the Grand California. When you go through Grand California, the monorail slows down. We're slowing way down because as it goes through, it has to slow down for noise abatement. So the people who are staying at the hotel, they don't hear the monorail zipping through at full speed. It's very considerate of Disney to slow it down. We just made a stop at downtown Disney. Now, when the monorail first opened up, it was an enclosed loop just inside Disney. They extended it though 2 years after it opened in 1961 to come to downtown Disney, and this is the boarding station for the Disneyland Hotel. It's awesome. By the way, another really cool thing about the Disneyland monorail is the only attraction at Disneyland that goes outside the park. The only one. Oh, and Disneyland's monorail is the only monorail that actually has a station inside the park. That's right, you go to every other Disney that has a monorail, all their stations are outside the parks. Disneyland, You are awesome. When they added the new station downtown Disney, the hotel, they used to allow people to ride it for free from the hotel. You ride it around a round trip as long as you didn't get off in Tomorrowland. You can ride it for free. There's the captain's quarters. It used to be that 4 people could sit there with the pilot, but you know, can't do that anymore. This is what, look at this hat here. The only people who have these hats are the Monorail cast members. And by the way, don't call them captains, they're pilots. You're a pilot. And that's really cool. The Mark Twain, they kind of have very similar hats, but theirs are black on top. But you have to be certified Monorail operator to have that hat. So the pilot goes in, and when they're ready to take off, they're gonna blow that horn 2 times. That means to move forward. You'll hear it go 2 times. I love that sound, it's so iconic. I just wanna make it all the time. Oh, I love it. There it goes. 2 blasts, and there goes the red monorail. Bye-bye. When Walt was planning the whole Disneyland, he created a corporation called Retlaw Enterprises. Retlaw is Walter spelled backwards. And Retlaw owned the monorail and the steam locomotives. And so Retlaw Enterprises would pay Disneyland for the right to have the monorail go through their property. And the monorail employees at those times were Retlaw Enterprise employees, not Disneyland employees. But in 1982, Disneyland ended up buying all that, and so there is no they don't have the Retlaw Enterprise anymore. Now it's all owned by Disney. The monorail has a very iconic horn. Honk, honk. I love that sound. I'm just gonna try to do that a lot. Honk, honk. 2 blasts means it's gonna go forward. If you ever hear it do 3 blasts, which I've never heard it here, that means that they're gonna reverse the monorail, which they don't do when public is on it. That's why we never hear it. But you gotta listen for those 2 blasts. Honk, honk. Also, they do blasts when they're coming under low clearance. Under things, you'll hear it blast again. How cool is that? There it is. The beauty. Did you guys know that we have merch for sale? Boom, look at this backpack. That's right, this type of backpacks that we wear here at Disneyland, awesome. We got shirts, we got everything you want. We got towels, we've got hats, I mean, anything you want. And they are awesome, and they're changing all the time. In fact, the ones that Thumbnail Dave has designed right now are only gonna be there for another 2 weeks, and then they're gonna be gone. So if you wanna get something like the pirate stuff, go get it now, because it's gonna be gone. How fast does the monorail go? It's designed to go up to 80 miles per hour, making it the fastest attraction possible in Disneyland. These cars here, though, they say they probably would cap out about 70 miles per hour, but in the ride, and when it's actually operating, it maxes out at 20 miles an hour. So is it the fastest? Has the potential to be. Disneyland is very serious about the safety for the monorail, and they have a safety system called MAPO, MAPO. MAPO is, it gives an alert if a train gets too close to another train. Now, why is it the name MAPO? Well, originally what happened was Mary Poppins, the movie came out and it was so profitable, they took the profits of that movie and sunk it into monorail to come out with this brand new safety system. Hence, MAPO. M-A for Mary, P-O for Poppins. Mary Poppins. The Mary Poppins safety on the monorail. MAPO. The entire course, round trip, is 2.5 miles. It takes about 10 minutes to do. If you ask a cast member how long, though, they'll tell you about 15 to 20 because they don't know how long the boarding and the embarkation and disembarkation and getting on and getting off is going to take per person. So 15 minutes round trip. The monorail cannot run if there are fireworks going on. So if you're out here at Disneyland and the night fireworks, they will shut it down early. Sometimes the monorail also will just shut down early, but they'll let you know when you get on and the pilot will tell you when the last monorail is going around. The monorails are very eco-friendly. They run electricity, not like these bad boys over here, Autopia. I think eventually at some point they're going to turn those to electric vehicles, but right now they're gas powered. But the monorail is a very eco-friendly. It's run on electricity, and it's done with what's called a brush bar. A brush bar. And that's where the side of the monorail, there's a track, there is a little metal thing, and the brush goes across that metal thing on the side track and it powers it. I'll show it to you. Right there, you can see it right there. That is what powers the monorail. That little thing, that's got powers on it, and the brush goes right along that, and that's where it gets electricity to make it go forward. It has a 600 horsepower engine. Woo-hoo! Okay, so here's the monorail track. You're gonna see this track here. There are two tires. There's a tire that runs across the top of it. There's also tires that run across on the sides of it. So there you go. So you have, I mean, it's not just like one tire. Some people are like, oh, it's only one tire. No. There's a tire on top and then tires on the side to hold it and hug it to the track. Unlike a real train, which just has an engine that pulls us, a monorail has 6 different engines. And they're between each of the cars, where the cars couple together. That way it's going along. So you're not just being pulled along, you're actually being pushed along by all of these 6 different engines. Huh, how cool is that? 6 little engines. They all think they can. I think I can, I think I can. And they do. Do you guys want to know how cool the monorail is? Well, it got a plaque for mechanical engineering. What? Oh my gosh. And this is impressive, guys. This plaque was awarded in 1986 as a historical mechanical engineering landmark for the Disneyland Monorail system, which was erected in 1959. Disneyland engineers designed this monorail system based on the system developed by Axel W. Wennergren, that's also known as Al Gwen. Built at the Walt Disney Studios, the system is intended to apply to urban transit. Opened in 1959, it has been in daily passenger service ever since. The cars are equipped with 600-volt DC 100 horsepower electric motors, driving rubber-tired wheels on a single beam track. They rededicated this in June 14, 2004. How prestigious is this? Well, as of August 2019, there's only been 273 of these awards ever given out in the world for mechanical engineering. That's how amazing this is. You guys, I have to tell you, this is really fun to do. I can't stop thinking about monorails. I have a one-track mind. On the return back from the downtown Disney, you're going to re-enter into the park. The monorail will go over and under the monorail track 6 times before it goes back to the main station there. See if you can find all 6 spots. It's very subtle. Let's try to see how many times we go under or over tracks. So this time around, I'm going to show you 2 things that you can only see if you're riding the monorail. The first is right before you pull into the station, the downtown station. You have to look at the Lego store, and there's a Lego castle, but you can only see it if you're riding the monorail. Let's check it out. Okay, so now we're coming into downtown Disney. I'm going to show you this Lego store. You're looking and you're going to see a Lego castle that you can only see when you're riding the monorail. It's going to go by fast. You have to have your eyes peeled. Here we go. It's right there at the top, right there.
Comes to a complete stop.
I bumped the camera as I'm trying to get this shot. This is why we need camera and Greg to do this. I should be doing this alone. Alyssa, can you slow that down so you show that? Editor, Alyssa, what can you do? Show the castle.
You enjoy your visit to the Disneyland Resort.
It goes by really fast, but you can see like there's a castle there, and you can only see that if you are on this side. When I say this side, I mean if you're facing the rear on the left-hand side. If you're facing forward, you're on the right-hand side. If you're on the left-hand side facing rear, that's the only place you can see that castle, that Lego castle. What? Next, I'm going to show you a really exclusive Starbucks, like the most exclusive Starbucks ever, and I want to go to it, but I can't. Now you're going to want to go too. So right after the entrance, you're going to see the cast member only Starbucks. You have to be a cast member to drink at this Starbucks or get a little pastry or patisserie. I've always wanted to go there, but I'm not a cast member, so I can't. So here it is. That is the only Starbucks you can't get to in Disneyland, basically. It's just for cast members. Man, I wish I could go to it though. Just to say you could, right? That's how busy they are. They have their own Starbucks just for cast members. Behind me, you see, we're going by Disney's California Adventure, right there. In fact, we're in the park. But there is no stop inside Disney California Adventure. We go through it, but we don't stop in it. Such a pretty view. I'm going to show you a little secret here. There is a very nondescript building right there. See, it's a giant green building. It's painted with no CM green. It's a very nondescript. You see some vents across the top of it. That is Indiana Jones. That's the ride for Indiana Jones and the Temple of the Forbidden Eye, right in that building that's hidden behind those trees. It with the no CM green.
Red Californian Hotel and Spa.
How cool is that? There's a switch that takes the monorails back to where they house them at nighttime. It's also where they paint them. You can see right down there, there's a little, it goes by so fast. It takes about 3 to 4 weeks to paint them. It's also, they do maintenance. Monorail Orange is there. It'll be there for several months as they refurbish it. I had a friend of mine who is a cast member down in Florida, and he came here to Disneyland, and he was baffled that people waiting in line to do the monorail.
Yeah.
Because in Florida, the monorail is just 100% used to transport people to the park and to go back to parking. There's no other purpose. So it's like, why are people waiting during the middle of the day to ride the monorail? I'm like, it's an attraction. It's fun. And that was very shocking to him. Because in Florida, it's all standing, you got the little things there standing. It's just like being on the Metro, the L, the New York subway. It's taller. It's just to move people around. Where here in Disneyland, it's kind of luxury. Oh, that cast member's name was Dolores. We stopped. That means that the train at the station, at the Tomorrowland station, has not disembarked yet. So we are waiting here for that train to take off. And so we can't get too close to that train. There's a little railing over there. We're waiting for the train to go. And once it clears the station, then we'll be on our way. It's kind of cool. They just did 2 honks. I don't know if I got the camera on time. That means we're moving forward.
Disneyland Park will be closing at 9 p.m. However, the Monorail is closed every night at 7 p.m.
It's amazing to me that the monorail can go right through the California Grand. It's so cool. I am now in downtown Disney. Duke or Earl sandwiches down there, Starbucks, downtown Disney. But there's the monorail track right there. And there's the Monorail Station for downtown Disney. You don't have to walk all the way through downtown Disney if you don't want to. If you're going to Disney, you have a reservation, you go right there, they'll scan your ticket, you can go get on a monorail and take you right to Disneyland, Tomorrowland. Let's do it. Here's the Monorail Station, and they'll scan your ticket right there, and you go right on up those stairs or the elevator to get on. As you go up the stairs, it says to Monorail. Monorail!
What's it called?
To Monorail. Monorail!
Once again.
And there you go. Right up here. You can load on and get on the monorail and take you right back to Disneyland. There it is. It's actually just going away. Just missed it. All right, so here I am just kind of walking down the platform to get on the monorail. The thing about it is if you're tired and nighttime you go to eat down to Disney, the monorail is a really great way to get back into Disneyland without having to walk. You're like, I'm just gonna take the monorail. All right, so here's the very front here. And I was just talking to some of the pilots, and they were telling me that sometimes it's stressful because when they pull in, they're pulling it in, right? The red or the red or the blue, they're coming in. They have to stop it within a foot. They have a foot. If they overshoot it, they have to back it up. And they don't want to do that. So they got like 1 foot. The most embarrassing thing they can do is because if they come in, if they overshoot it, they have to reverse it. They have to honk the horn 3 times, right? Then they go backwards, then they overshoot that, so then they have to do 2 honks to go back at the front. And if they do that, then all the cast members give each other grief. They're like, dude, you 5 honked it. They're coming in for a solid reg and try to stop within that 1 foot. Oh, dude, they're looking really confident. I was hoping that I wanted him to overshoot. Oh, and he got the solid red light. That means he got it in perfect. See that solid red light? That means it's perfect. Riding at night gives such a different view. It's gorgeous. It's getting to be a little dark because it's nighttime. Here's some cool facts I want to tell you. The monorail has 54 tires. There's 10 load-bearing tires that the car rides on top of. Then there's 44 tires that hug the side, 22 on each side, for a total of 54 tires. What? You thought an 18-wheeler had a lot. Wow, doesn't that look amazing?
Good evening, folks, and welcome aboard Monorail Blue. This is your pilot, Debbie speaking. Please be advised the Disneyland Park does close at 9 p.m. tonight. We wanted to catch that last monorail back to the downtown
Monorail.